It's the middle of the week. It's time for you to wake up.
Give me your wig. Don't know what to do with it. Give me your wig. Give me your.
Do hair. All of my niggas do makeup. With no recognition, it's not fair. My niggas style all your girlfriends, and y'all niggas will praise them. But then try to alter your sons, cause they just like me. Let me raise them. We in the.
Did you feel that?
I taste that. I smell that. I enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm
the
sure
flavor.
you did. I'm sure you did. Wow.
So I told you guys that I would be doing a podcast and I was not playing. It is exclusively on patreon.com/AdrianExpression. If you like what you heard, the couple of seconds of what you just heard, make sure you go on to patreon.com/AdrianExpression, sign up to at least the $5 tier to get these podcast episodes, which will be coming out at the very least every other week. So of course there'll be bonus episodes and I will increase the frequency depending on how much support I get over there. But I've been seeing a few of you guys go over there and check it out, so please let me know what you think. Ocean Kelly and I had so much fun doing the first ever episode of the Expression podcast entitled Overflow. We talked about everything from anxiety to being a creative in ATL to our collaborations, and I talked about like Tyler Perry, I talked about political stuff and what's going on in the Amber Geiger case. It was just a very full episode, so I hope that you will go over to patreon.com/AdrianExpression and check it out. So let's go over really quickly some things that are happening in the music industry. Normani didn't really do anything. All she did was stand in this grassy field and I decided to stand on that one. She just took a picture and I got my life. What else? Tinashe said that, you know, now that she's independent, she's going to give us exactly what we deserve. Now, I have been really shady towards Tinashe in the past, but I had to really mature and understand that it was her management, it was her label that had her out here licking toilets and shit. I was just not here for it. So now that she's completely independent, I'm very happy to see what she's going to be giving us. Cash Doll went on to I think it's like BET Cypher type shit and dropped some heat on our asses. We didn't have any other choice but to stand. Her project will be released on the 18th. What else is going on? T.I. was talking shit about, oh, there can only be, I don't know what they were doing. They were making a list or something and they said they can only be one woman rapper in the spot. I think they were talking about Nicki Minaj versus Lil Kim or something. There can only be one woman rapper on the list. I'm like, girl, that's crazy as hell, first of all. And second of all, do you think that we're gonna listen to T.I. talk about female rap when he gave us Iggy Azalea? I don't think we are. So let's talk about some of the heavier topics because this week was a little crazy. So you may have seen Ellen DeGeneres' name pop up recently in the news and on social media. That's because she was at this football game twirling around with George W. Bush and people were rightfully, in my opinion, upset about it. There are multiple reasons why this is troubling, but aside from the fact that George W. Bush can be seen as a whole ass war criminal, got us into these expensive ass wars and we were sitting in Iraq and Afghanistan off of fake ass intelligence and lies. But I think what grabbed people's attention even more was the fact that he's so notoriously anti-LGBT. I mean, this is coming from Out Magazine. Among other things, Bush supported a constitutional amendment that would ban same-sex marriage at the federal level. He called the groundbreaking 2004 Massachusetts Supreme Court decision on marriage equality troubling. He has also referred to LGBTQ+ rights as special rights and claimed that he was sure that whether homosexuality is a choice. Throughout his career, he opposed gay inclusion at the Boy Scouts, same-sex adoptions, and LGBTQ+ inclusive hate crime laws. I will say, however, in 2015, he said his views have mellowed out. I don't know what that means, but he still believes in traditional marriage. So Ellen's response to that was giving me very much like white gay type of tease. It was giving me very much rich celebrity type of tease. She just went on there and said, you know what, y'all are mad. Y'all are tweeting, y'all are mad. She said that George W. Bush is my friend, basically giving this annoying answer that we hear all too often, just like all my friends around me don't have to have the same type of views. And it's just like, no, if they're trying to take away your humanity, sis, they're not your friends. That's what we're saying. Before I talk more about that, people brought up the fact that y'all are mad at George W. Bush for being this war criminal, but what about, Obama? What about the things that Obama administration had authorized. And it's just like, that's what I say all the time. These politicians are not your friend. It doesn't matter who they are. You have to hold their asses accountable. That's why it's so interesting to navigate these conversations about these political leaders. But even that whole sharing peppermint at, where was Michelle Obama at with George W. Bush? That whole shit was, we dragged that as well. So it's all around, I don't trust these people. But in the case of George W. Bush specifically, it even informs what's going on today, because we have this Supreme Court, these Supreme Court cases revolving around the LGBT community that I will talk about later. But George W. Bush, first of all, Brett Kavanaugh sits on the Supreme Court as an extreme conservative, and he's going to be a thorn in our side when it comes to progression. He was a former staff secretary of George W. Bush, and also George Bush appointed Samuel Alito as a Supreme Court justice, as well as Clarence Thomas, who are both conservatives. And even while they're deliberating over our right to be employed, Samuel Alito has basically spoken out against the shit. So it's just like, I understand why people are angry at Ellen DeGeneres. While our rights are hanging in the balance, you are hanging around the person who allowed us to be dehumanized. The people he was hanging around with and his justices are the reason why we have such a hard time fighting to get the rights in the first place. So I understand it. I understand it. So we're going to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, this comes from NBC. The Supreme Court must decide whether Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which makes it illegal for employers to discriminate because of a person's sex, also covers sexual orientation and transgender status. So as we know, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based off of race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. So there's certain cases that have come up. I think somebody joined some gay sports team and their employer found out and fired them. There are a lot of cases that are coming up and that the Supreme Court is having oral arguments about and deliberating on. I don't think we're gonna get a major decision on these cases until like 2020. So what the progressives are trying to do now is tying sexual orientation and gender and all of that to sex, which is written in the 1964 Civil Rights Act. What the conservatives are trying to do is say that when that was being written up, they weren't thinking about sexual orientation or any of that. But one of the lawyers is arguing this, and the name is Pam Carlin. They're arguing when an employer fires a male employee for dating men but does not fire female employees who date men, he violates Title VII because the employer has discriminated against the man because it treats that man worse than the woman who want to do the same thing. And that is discrimination because of sex. It's just crazy that people have to do all these tricks and flips and turns to get the government or to get these officials. I know that it's written in law and you have to do it, but it's crazy that we have to do all these tricks and turns to make people see our humanity. This is also coming from NBC. The Trump administration said that when the Civil Rights Act was passed, sexual orientation was not on anyone's mind. But Ginsburg said that when Title VII was passed, no one was thinking that it covered sexual harassment, but the court came through and said that it did. Gorsuch, and they're seeing that justice as like a wild card. They don't know what he's gonna do. But he was arguing that, you know, if these laws get put into place or whatever, that it would cause massive social upheaval. That's what he said, but that was rebutted by the argument that some of these laws are already in place on the state level and there's been no massive social upheaval. It's just a shame that we're talking about this shit in 2019. If someone can do the goddamn job and do it well, hire their asses and shut the fuck up. Who they're fucking or who they're attracted to at home has nothing to do with the business, has nothing to do with you as the employer. Sit your ass down. Here comes Betsy Devos. I haven't done that shit in a long time. We are going to get on that Pelican Bill, bitch. We're gonna get on her bald eagle, and I'm talking about patriotic type of tease. I'm talking about the fact that her ass, that hair is thinning out faster than my goddamn masculinity. We have to talk about Betsy Devos, this old, tired, and rotting flamingo in the face built ass. We sure do. We sure do. Betsy Devos, this is coming from Newsweek. But Betsy Devos' ass is facing jail time because she apparently violated a 2018 order on student loans. The ruling handed down in June of 2018 by Magistrate Judge Sally Kim. Now let me tell you something about Sally Kim. Sally Kim dragged the shit out of Betsy Devos through this whole article. That ruling prevented Devos and her Department of Education from going after former students at the bankrupt Corinthian Colleges Incorporated. Kim, the judge, said that she was astounded to discover that Devos was violating the court order at a hearing in San Francisco on Monday after a filing by the Education Department earlier disclosed that more than 16,000 former students at Corinthian College were incorrectly informed at one time or another that they had payments due on their student loans. At least 1,800 people lost wages or their tax returns. Kim said, and she, like I said, she was dragging Devos. Kim, the judge, said, at best, it is gross negligence. At worst, it's an intentional flouting of my order. I'm not sure if this is contempt or sanctions. I'm not sending anyone to jail yet, but it's good to know I have that ability. Kim is sounding like Kim Possible. She said, call me, beat me, if you want to reach me. If you want to get jailed, sis, that's okay. Whenever you need me, baby. She said, call me, beat me, if you want jail, sweetie. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when. She's gonna light that ass up. So if you want some context to this, it starts back in 2015. The government basically took down Corinthian for just fraudulent shit, and it was one of the largest for-profit college chains in the country. The government came through and said over 330,000 students could have their debts wiped out by the Borrower Defense to Repayment program that was set up specifically to protect students from predatory schools like Corinthian. But in 2017, Devos tried to limit the power of that program. Over 160,000 applications for loan forgiveness just went ignored. So in 2017, a class action suit was started by like 80,000 Corinthian students. They went to sue the shit out of the Education Department. Education Department was still going after them for loans and had only forgiven 10. Like, not 10,000, I'm talking about 10 student loans. So Kim, I love Judge Kim, I don't even know who she is. Kim said there have to be consequences for violation of my order 16,000 times. So I'm waiting to see what exactly is gonna happen. Everyone say hello to Avery Moore. This is the motherfucker who wants us all to believe that Joshua Brown, who was a key witness in the Amber Geiger case who got shot after the verdict, he along with his whole department is the one who wants us to believe that Joshua Brown got shot because of a botched drug deal. And botched drug deal is the language that supposedly one of the people who was involved in the deal used to describe it. It's crazy. So there have been arrest warrants issued for Thaddeus Charles Green, Michael Diaz Mitchell, Jaquarius Mitchell. Dallas police is saying that apparently Green and Mitchell's, who are related, drove from Alexandria, Louisiana, 4.5 hours. Okay, that's what, 9 hours round trip, 4.5 hours to Dallas on Friday to meet with Brown for a prearranged drug deal. I don't understand. Now this is crazy. Okay, this is what they're saying, and this has come from ABC News. During the encounter outside Brown's apartment complex, Joshua Brown allegedly shot Jaquarius Mitchell, wounding him. And he said that Green responded by shooting Joshua Brown in the lower body, killing him. But this is the thing, that Thaddeus Green took the backpack that Joshua Brown had as well as a gun that Joshua Brown used to apparently shoot the people who had come to buy drugs. And after that, because I'm gonna talk about it, then after that, this is what he said, we received numerous tips as it related to the killing of Mr. Brown, and in that we executed a search warrant at Mr. Brown's apartment. They said that Joshua Brown had 12 pounds of marijuana and 143 grams of THC in cartridges and $4,000 in cash. So now, this is my thing. Why would first of all, ain't nobody driving from Louisiana 4.5 hours to Dallas to get some goddamn weed. That's the first thing. When California and all that shit is sitting there, if they actually moving shit. The second thing is, why would you have all that fucking weight and cash on you when you're going to be a witness against a policeman or the whole police department? That's the second thing. The third thing is, why in the hell, if you came all this way for weed and if you do, that shit don't make no sense already. Why the hell would you shoot the supplier and not take the cash and the drugs and all that shit sitting in his fucking apartment that you know he got? If you shot this nigga, go take his shit. It don't make no sense. And then on top of that, Joshua Brown apparently had a gun. He shot the motherfucker and they took the gun and the backpack. So now we don't hold this gun and backpack. We don't know what. It's just, do you really think that we gonna sit here and believe that bullshit? Are you serious? And I don't know, he just had 12 pounds of marijuana sitting in his apartment, and y'all only got tips that something was wrong or going on at these apartments after this motherfucker got shot? You mean to tell me 12 pounds of marijuana ain't gonna smell the whole apartment building? It don't make no goddamn sense. It's not making any sense to me, sis. What are you talking about? It don't make no sense for him to be moving that much weight and having that shit sitting in his apartment where he sleeps like niggas don't know they can't get get robbed, like drug dealers don't know they can't get robbed. And then not only that, but being a key witness, going up in front of the legal system, being a witness against somebody inside the legal system. You mean to tell me, I think he was living with somebody, I don't know if it's baby mama or somebody, you mean to tell me these motherfuckers didn't know that they should get rid of them drugs before? It's just, it's not making any sense. It's not making any sense. We ain't that stupid. Y'all can look into what they said about Joshua Brown. I don't believe that shit for a motherfucking minute, a millisecond, a nanosecond, all right? So on that note, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Make sure, like I say, make sure you're going over to patreon.com/AdrianExpression and signing up. Make sure that you check out the Expression podcast. The first episode is out on Patreon, exclusively on Patreon. Let me know what you think. Make sure that you all are having an amazing week and a good goddamn evening.